Hi everyone, this is Arvind from MindMajix, and today we are up with another video called MySQL Interview Questions. Okay, so guys, after receiving a good response for DBMS interview questions and SQL interview questions, we decided to come up with this particular topic, MySQL Interview Questions. Okay, so in this particular video, we are going to cover maximum questions that are most frequently asked in the actual interviews. So if you go through this video is kind of a revision for all of you guys. You can brush up all the concepts that you already know related to MySQL. And just before your actual interview, if you just go through this video, so this will prove very beneficial to you in cracking the interview. So guys, that is the whole idea or the agenda behind this video. So without any further delay, let's get started. Okay, so the first very basic question over here is, what is MySQL? Okay, so MySQL is one of the most popular open source relational database management system. So MySQL is pretty much easy to use, reliable, and very fast. So a database management system that works on embedded systems as well as a client server system. Okay, so this was a quick definition of MySQL. And now the next question is, what are some of the advantages of using MySQL? Okay, and guys, MySQL is one of the very popular open source database management systems in the market. Okay, so what are the reasons for it? So MySQL is dominating the list of powerful transactional database engines in the market. So the features like consistency, complete atomicity, isolation, durable transaction support, multi-version transaction support, and unrestricted row-level locking makes it go to the solution for the full data integrity. Apart from this, it offers widespread support for all application development requirements. In the MySQL database, you can find the support for stored procedures, functions, triggers, cursors, view, ANSYS standard SQL, and much more. The next question is, which drivers are necessary for MySQL? So guys, as you can see on the screen, there are many types of drivers in MySQL. So mostly they are used for connections with different computational languages. And some of them are PHP drivers, JDBC, ODBC, Python drivers, C wrapper, and Perl and Ruby drivers. The next question is, what are the key differences between PostgreSQL and MySQL? So guys, in the actual interview as well, you can be asked such questions like comparison between MySQL and Oracle, or SQL and MySQL, or Postgres and MySQL. Okay, so in this particular question, we will discuss the differences between Postgres and MySQL. So MySQL is a relational database management system, and PostgreSQL is an object relational database management system. Okay, so in relational database models, the database is represented as a collection of relations, whereas in an object relational database management system has qualities of an RDBMS, and apart from this, it has several features of object-oriented management system like objects, classes, inheritance, and so on. The next point over here is PostgreSQL is ACID compliant, where ACID stands for atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability, while MySQL is not ACID compliant. So MySQL is ACID compliant only with InnoDB and NDB cluster engines. Okay, so PostgreSQL has multi-version concurrency control, which enables multiple users to work on a PostgreSQL database simultaneously, whereas MySQL provides this support only after using InnoDB. Okay, so what is InnoDB, guys? We will see this part in the later part of this video. So one more critical difference between PostgreSQL and MySQL is that MySQL provides MySQL Workbench as a GUI tool, and PostgreSQL provides pgadmin. Apart from this, MySQL only supports standard data types like string, numeric, date, and time, whereas PostgreSQL supports advanced data types such as arrays, HStore, and user-defined data types as well. So guys, these were some of the key differences between PostgreSQL and MySQL. The next question is a very important question. How can you interact with MySQL? So guys, there are three main ways with which you can interact with MySQL. The first one is using a command line, next using a web interface, and then using a programming language or through a programming language. Okay, so guys, apart from this, you can also be asked the questions on installation of MySQL on your system. Okay, so if you have really installed MySQL on your system, then it will be very easy for you to answer the questions related to installation and interaction with MySQL as well. So guys, the next question over here is, what is the difference between now and current date? So now command is used to show the current year, the current month, date with hours, minutes and seconds. Whereas current date shows current year, month and date only. Okay. So guys, if you carefully observe over here, now is more detailed than current date. So that is the only difference between now and current date. The next question is, what are the objects that can be created using the create command? So if you talk about objects that can be created using create command, those objects are database, event, function, index, procedure, table, trigger, user, and view. The next question is, what are the tables in MySQL and explain their types? So MySQL stores everything in logical tables. So tables can be thought of as the core storage structure of MySQL. And hence, tables are also known as storage engines. So if you talk about the storage engines that are provided by MySQL, so here you have MyISAM, then you have merge, you also have archive, CSV, InnoDB, memory, and federated. So if you talk about MyISAM, so this is a default storage engine for MySQL. So it extends the former ISAM storage engine. And now MyISAM offers big storage up to 256 TB, like 256 terabytes. So the tables can also be compressed to get extra storage. The only point to remember over here is that these tables are not transaction safe. Then if you talk about merge, so a merge table is a virtual table that consolidates different MyISAM tables that have a comparable structure to one table. Merge tables use the indexes of the base tables as they do not have indexes of their own. Then you also have the archive table. So as the name suggests, archive helps in archiving the tables by compressing them, which in turn reduces the storage space. Hence, you can store a lot of records with the help of archive. Next, you have the CSV table. So this is more like a storage format. So CSV engine stores the values in comma separated values format. So this engine makes it easier to migrate the tables into a non-SQL pipeline. Apart from this, you also have InnoDB. So InnoDB is the most optimal while choosing an engine to drive performance. InnoDB is transaction safe engine. Hence, it is ACID compliant and can efficiently restore your database to the most stable state in case of a crash or a failure. Then you have a memory. So memory tables are previously known as heap tables. So with memory tables, there can be performance boost as the tables are stored in the memory. But it does not work with large data tables due to the same reason. And last but not the least, you have the federated tables. So these tables allow accessing remote MySQL server tables. It can be done without any third-party integration or cluster technology. The next question is, what are the numeric data types in MySQL? So MySQL has numeric data types for integer, fixed point, floating point, and bit values. Apart from this, numeric types can be signed or unsigned except the bit. So a special attribute enables the automatic generation of SQL integer or floating point column values, which is useful for applications that require a series of unique identification numbers. And now if you talk about numeric data types in MySQL, so here you have tiny int, small int, medium int, big int, decimal, float, double, and bit. The next question is, what are the string data types in MySQL? So guys, as you can see on the screen, these are the string data types in MySQL, such as char, varchar, binary, var binary, tiny block, block, medium block, long block, tiny text, text, medium text, long text, enum, set, and null. The next question is, what are the temporal data types in MySQL? So guys, this is a very important interview question. So if you talk about temporal data types, so here you have date, time, date time, timestamp, and year. Okay, so these are the 5 temporal data types in MySQL. So if you talk about date, so here you have date value in the format year, month, and day. Apart from this, if you talk about time, so this data type has a time value in this particular format. Like you have hours, minutes, and seconds. If you talk about date time, so this is a combination of date as well as time in the format year, month, and date, and hours, minute, and seconds format. So basically, we are combining the date and time data types over here. Apart from this, you have timestamp. So this is a timestamp value in the format year, month, day, hour, minute, and seconds. So then you have the year data type, which is in the format of 4-digit years or 2-digit years. The next question is, what is a blob in MySQL? So guys, blob is basically an acronym that stands for binary large object. So it is used to hold a variable amount of data. So basically, there are 4 types of blobs, as you can see on the screen: tiny blob, blob, medium blob, and long blob. The next question is, what are MySQL triggers? So trigger is a task that executes in response to some predefined database event, such as after a new row is added to a particular table. Specifically, this event involves inserting, modifying, or deleting the table data. So trigger is a task that executes in response to some predefined database event, such as after a new row is added to a particular table. Specifically, this event involves inserting, modifying, or deleting the table data, and the task that can occur either prior to or immediately following to any such event. And triggers can have many purposes, such as audit trials, validation, and referential integrity enforcement. The next question over here is, how many triggers are possible in MySQL? So guys, there are 6 triggers which are allowed to use in MySQL database, and those triggers are before insert, after insert, before update, after update, before delete, and after delete. The next question is, what is MySQL Server? So the server MySQL D is the hub of a MySQL installation, and this server performs all of the manipulation of databases and tables. So guys, if you have installed MySQL on your system, you might have noticed that in the actual installation, you have a MySQL client and a MySQL server. So MySQL client is simply MySQL on the command line, and MySQL server is MySQL D. The next very important question over here is, what are MySQL clients and utilities? So several MySQL programs are available to help you communicate with the server. So for administrative tasks, some of the most important ones are MySQL, MySQL admin, MySQL dump, MySQL check, and MyISAM check or CHK. So if you talk about MySQL, so this is an interactive program that enables you to send SQL statements to the server and view the results. So you can also use MySQL to execute batch scripts such as text files containing the SQL statements. Now, if you talk about MySQL admin, so an administrative program for performing tasks such as shutting down the server, checking its configuration, or monitoring the status if it appears not to be functioning properly. Then you have the MySQL dump. So this is basically a tool for backing up your databases or copying the databases to another server. Apart from this, if you talk about MySQL check and MyISAM check, so these are nothing but programs that help you perform table checking, analysis, and optimization, as well as repairs if tables become damaged. So MySQL check works with MyISAM tables and to some extent with tables for other storage engines. So MyISAM check is for the use only with MyISAM tables. The next question is, what is MySQL Workbench? So MySQL Workbench is bound together a visual instrument for database modelers, designers, and database admins. MySQL Workbench provides data modeling, SQL, and server setup set of administrative tools. In simple words, MySQL Workbench makes it possible to operate the database management system through the GUI. The next question is, how does database import-export work in MySQL? So database import export can be done in two ways. So one of them is to use the PHP MyAdmin, and the second one is to use the command line access of MySQL. If you talk about the latter part, so that can be done using the command named MySQL dump. So if you talk about the way to do this using the command line, so the command for that is very simple. So on the command line, you have to type MySQL dump space -u. Then you have to provide the username -p, the database name, then the greater than symbol, then dbsample.sql. Apart from this, to import a database into MySQL, only a sign change is required with the command of MySQL. So to import the database, the command is very simple, as you can see over here. On the command line, you have to type MySQL -u, username -p, db name, less than equal to sign, then dbsample.sql. So guys, if you carefully observe, there is a change of only this sign over here, greater than and less than. So that is the only difference between these two commands. The next question is, can a primary key be dropped in MySQL? If yes, how? So guys, before answering this question, you must be aware of what is a primary key and other keys as well. So if you talk about other keys, so here you have foreign key, composite key, unique key, and so on. So the answer to this question is yes, it is possible to drop the primary key from a table, and the command for that is very simple. As you can see on the screen, alter command is used for this purpose. So the command is alter table, then you have the table name, and then drop primary key. So if you execute this command, you will be able to drop the primary key from a table. The next question is, what are procedures in MySQL? So procedures or stored procedures are subprograms, just like in a regular language, embedded in the database. So a stored procedure consists of a name, SQL statements, and parameters. So it utilizes the caching in MySQL and hence saves time and memory, just like the prepared statements. Guys, the next important question that we will cover here is, what are the common MySQL functions? So as you can see on the screen, these are the most commonly used or most frequently used MySQL functions, such as concat A and B. So this function basically concatenates two string values to create a single string output. So this command is often used to combine two or more fields into one single field. Apart from this, you have format, and here you have two parameters like x and d. So this function formats the number x to d significant digits. Then you have functions like current date and current time. So this functions returns the current date or current time. Then you have the now function, which returns the current date and time as one value. Then you have month, day, year, week, and weekday. And these functions extract the given data from a date value. Apart from this, you have functions such as hour, minute, and second. And these functions extract the given data from a time value. Apart from this, you have the date difference function. So this function date diff and the parameter a and b determines the difference between two dates, and this is most commonly used to calculate age of a person or an event. Then you have the subtimes. So this function determines the difference between two times, and you also have from days, and this function converts an integer number of days into a date value. The next question over here is, what storage engines are used in MySQL? So storage engines are called table types, and data is stored in files using various techniques. And those techniques are storage mechanisms, locking levels, indexing, capabilities, and functions. The next important question is, when does MySQL lock tables? So lock mechanism restricts the illicit access or unauthorized access of the data in a table. MySQL permits a client session to explicitly obtain a table lock to cooperate with other sessions to access the table's data. MySQL permits table locking to stop unauthorized modification in the same table during a particular period. A MySQL session can obtain or release locks on the table just for itself. Thus, one session cannot obtain or release the table locks for other sessions. So you should have select privileges and a table lock for table locking. The next question is, where does MySQL store passwords? So MySQL stores passwords in the user table in MySQL system database. So operations that modify or assign passwords are allowed only to those users with the create user privilege or otherwise privileges for the MySQL database. The insert privilege is used to create new accounts, and the update privilege is used to change the existing accounts. The next question over here is, can MySQL store images and videos? So MySQL allows you to store binary content in a table with the help of where binary or binary data type for a column. So it can store file content like images, sounds, videos, and simply a binary snippet. There are two methods to save images. The most widespread method is to save the file name in the MySQL table and then upload the image to the folder. The second method is to store the image in the database directly. So guys, with this, we have come to the end of this session on MySQL interview questions. And in this particular video, we have covered the questions which were specifically related to MySQL. Apart from this, if you talk about the basics of DBMS and SQL, so for those topics, we have separate videos like DBMS interview questions and SQL interview questions. So in those videos, we have discussed in detail the questions which are related to DBMS, like basics of DBMS, and the basics of SQL, like all SQL related concepts. Okay, so if you want, you can have a look at these videos as well, and I will provide a link for those videos in the description box. You can check them out. So guys, thank you so much for being with us. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If at all you have any queries and doubts related to this video, then you can write them in the comment section and we will try to resolve your doubts and queries as early as possible. So guys, I wish you all the very best for your upcoming interview and thank you for being with us.